Hello everyone, and welcome to episode 4 of my Draenei Warrior Let's Play series. Where last episode we finished our questing experience in Bloodmyst Isle and we explored the Exodar, where today we are going to go ahead and enter Bloodmyst Isle, the second zone for the Draenei, and we are going to complete a bunch of different quests and we are going to see how far into the zone we can get in this episode. Where to start off our adventures, we have to head back up to the surface where we are kind of like underground right now inside of the crashed ship of the Exodar, and we can come out right here where it is still Hallows Eve as I record this, but when it's uploaded it will no longer be. But let's go ahead and come over here to Toralius the Pack Handler, where we have the Elec Breeder for coming of age, and we can go ahead and give him the Exarch's orders, and we are being sent to Bloodmyst Isle where we need to speak with Volcan, the Elec Herder on Bloodmyst Isle, where this is where we come for our riding. But because of how modern WoW is, we basically have everything unlocked already, and we like automatically learn our riding skill at level 10. We can upgrade at level 20. I'm not 100% sure if it will automatically upgrade or not, so we'll have to see when we get to that point. But to look at our map, of course we were up here in the middle of the last episode where we have Fair Bridge Strand, where presumably this little bridge right here is called Fair Bridge or something. So we can go ahead and come up here and go across it. Off in the distance, we can see the land looks a little red, and we can see some of those red crystals similar to the ones we saw in Still Pine Hold, where the red crystals are definitely bad indeed because they're not supposed to be like that, and they're supposed to be like the normal purple that we see a lot of in Bloodmyst Isle. But let's go ahead and come across this bridge, like an ancient Kaldorei bridge that basically connects the two islands together, and we have some other islands that we can see off in the distance that we will be able to explore as well. And it looks like there's a crashed like emergency pod right there, and we can see a little bit of a Furbolg village coming into view. But on the left side here along the Barrow coast, we can see this group of huts right here. There's a brown bear we should be careful of. But let's go ahead and come up here because we have several quests here that we can do. Vorkin the Elder or Elec Herder, and we have Kessel the Elec Lord, and we have Eonar, presumably some sort of apprentice. But we can go ahead and pick up this quest, and let's go ahead and maybe come over here really quickly to Eonar, where we can go ahead and do this quest, where we need to come over here and collect some sand pears and kill some Bloodmyst hatchlings. But we have Kessel the Elec Lord, where you're just in time, Athasel. Blood Elf activity in this area has doubled in the past week. Our agents have informed us that the Blood Elves that call themselves Sunhawks plan to launch an offensive upon Bloodmyst soon. I need you to get a warning out to our allies and compatriots. Warn High Chief Stillpine at Stillpine Hold, Exarch Menelius at Azurewatch, and Admiral Odysseus at Odysseus's Landing. Time is of the essence, so I'm lending you my Elec. Be sure to keep it out of water. So we just got a special Elec buff right here, where we can go ahead and run back into Bloodmyst Isle. So this is kind of like a funny quest where we just got to Bloodmyst Isle, but we immediately have a quest that is coming this way where we need to go chat with like the 3 main people that we chatted with here in Stillpine Hold, and then in Azurewatch, and then in Odysseus's Landing, and we can go ahead and warn them about this threat of the Blood Elves. But this is also a fun quest in the sense that we have an Elec mount. Now we currently have an Elec mount once we reach level 10, so this isn't like too big of a deal for us. But when the Burning Crusade was brand new, you wouldn't unlock your first ground mount until level 30, where in vanilla it was level 40, but then in the Burning Crusade it became level 30, and then in Wrathlish King it became level 20, and then at some point, I forget which expansion, it becomes level 10. But since we are currently level 15, and you would be like around level 12 or 13 originally when you were coming into Bloodmyst Isle, you would be far off of getting your first mount. So this is like a little bit of a taste to like mounted riding in World of Warcraft, and also a little bit of a taste of what it's like to ride on an Elec, where we have this very cool elephant-like creature right here. This quest is also interesting because it is timed. We only have 15 minutes in order to complete this quest, so let's go ahead and hurry over here to High Chief Stillpine, and we can go ahead and warn him, and then we can just basically go straight south of here, and then we will have to make our way back up. Here's the Exarch. Let's go ahead and chat with him and warn him so that they can prepare their defenses. And then we can jump over the logs and this chat with the Admiral and warn him so that they can prepare. And now we have completed the Kessel run, so we are at the southern end of Bloodmyst Isle. Let's go ahead and run all the way back to the southern end of Bloodmyst Isle, north of Bloodmyst Isle. And we have finally returned after a long trip, but here's Kessel, and we can go ahead and turn this in. And now we can go ahead and kill Lord Ziz at Wrath Scale Lair and drive the Draenei banner through his dead body. What a quest, but we can go ahead and go all the way up there, but we have some quests over here that we can do first. So let's go ahead and come this way, where we have some sand pears on the ground here, and then we can see some Ravager hatchlings, Bloodmyst hatchlings to be specific, that we can go ahead and fight. So let's go ahead and get straight into combat. And I have really been enjoying playing a warrior in this series, and I think warrior might actually be one of my favorite classes in World of Warcraft, because I've been playing a lot of different classes and specializations that I want to talk about in a little bit, but I've just been kind of experiencing a lot of stuff, and I think warrior is definitely up there on my list. There's two good sand pears right here, but there's so many different hatchlings around here where we've already almost completed this hatchling quest. And a very interesting thing that we can see right there is one of the crystals that's kind of turned a little red. So there might be some sort of connection going on here with these Ravagers being Bloodmyst Ravagers in a close proximity to that crystal. The Lost Fold, where we are uncovering some different areas here in Bloodmyst Isle. And of course, as you can see, at the very southern end here is kind of green like the rest of Bloodmyst Isle. And basically we can see to the north, the rest of the island is like blood red, and it has been corrupted from its original green state that we can see here, and we can also see down here in the Bloodmyst Isle. I'm getting very, very close to leveling up to level 16, and there we go, level 16. So let's go ahead and come into our talent tree here, and we have a new warrior talent where we can choose a few different things. We have a couple passives here. When you take any damage, heal for 2% of your maximum health. This can only occur once every 10 seconds. Pretty nice. Mortal Strike and Cleave have a 20% chance to immediately refund 10% of the rage spent. Let's go Pain and Gain. Apply changes. We can now turn in these two quests, and I can pick something. I don't think I want any of these necessarily, so I'll just pick that one. And let's go ahead and chat with Aonar, and we can go ahead and turn this quest in. And this is definitely an upgrade, and we got sand pear pies, which is interesting. So I did not want that. I want that, and maybe we can throw this onto our bar. Now let's go ahead and come up here where we have the Declaration of Power quests that we can complete, where we have these two very cool crystals that we can run under, and they even show up on the map once we kind of get away from it. There we go, we can see the two crystals sticking up out of the ground right there. But here we have these Kaldori ruins with a bunch of Naga. So let's go ahead and charge in here into the Wrath Scale Lair, and let's fight our way up where we have to fight Lord Ziz or X's, or I don't know how you would ever pronounce that name. But let's go ahead and kill this short stalker, and we can see him right here. So let's go ahead and where's our, there we go, here's our heroic leap. Let's leap in, and let's go ahead and kill him very quickly here. And then we can go ahead and declare our power. So let's target him, and let's drive this banner through his corpse, and we can see the Draenei banner right there. And it looks like this screamer has come to attack me, but I'm just going to run away. Kessel, the Elk Lord, and this is definitely an upgrade for us. We're getting a ton of good upgrades, but now we can report to Exart Admetius at Bloodwatch. So in Bloodmyst Isle, we have Azurewatch, which serves as the primary town in this map. Up here in Bloodmyst Isle, we have a Bloodwatch, where there's also this area over here that I want to explore very quickly because I have a faint memory of quests here, but we might come back here to do quests. But we have the Bristlelimb Enclave, so kind of like the enemies of the Stillpine. We have some Bristlelimb Furbolgs here, but that'll be for a future quest, I believe. So let's go ahead and run up all the way up here, and we can cross this cool bridge. like off to the west and the east. Very cool waterfall. But now we are in the corrupted areas of Bloodmyst Isle, where this is definitely a very dreary area, and the sky is like blood red, the sun is like very orange, and we see a ton of red crystals everywhere, including here in Bloodwatch, the primary town, where a lot of the crystals around here seem to be corrupted as well. But there are a lot of quests, where we have an innkeeper right here. So let's go ahead and make this in our home, accept that, and then let's go ahead and just run around this entire area where I guess there was a quest. Oh, that's a candy bucket for Hallows Eve. We have the Vindicator here. Let's go ahead and pick up this quest where we are just going to have a bunch of different quests all around this area, and I'll show you our map in just a second. But first, let's go ahead and pick them up, where we have two right here. We have this messenger, where we can go ahead and just pick that up, and I'm not sure what we got from that, but we can see there's an envoy of the Stillpine here, and then we have some very cool NPCs. We have 3 Vindicators here, and they are the triumvirate. Oh no, but they are the triumvirate of the hand. There we go, that's how you pronounce it. Where these are just very important Draenei, and they are located here, where we have a quest to go talk to the Exarch, and we have this quest to collect some of the irradiated crystals. But we also have a captured Sunhawk agent who is speaking Thalassian, and we cannot communicate with her, but we have newfound allies, where we can go ahead and report to Huntress Kella Nightbow in Azuremist Isle, and this is to leave Azuremist Isle and to leave Bloodmyst Isle. I just saw this quest down here, not entirely sure what that quest is for, but let's go ahead and run up here because we have the Exarch and we have a Harbinger in here. So let's go ahead and turn in these 2 quests that we have to turn in here, and then we have quests what we don't know, where we can go speak to that agent, and then what Argus means to me. So what does Argus mean to you, Athasel? Many Draenei probably do not know or remember our home planet. It is there that we split from the Minari, the twisted demonic reflections of ourselves that were gifted by Sargeras, or as they call themselves, Eredar. Eredar. This word once held meaning disgusting. Let us not waste any more time. Find Vindicator Boros to begin your training. Where we also have 2 quests from the Harbinger here. Let's go ahead and pick them up, and then we have the Vindicator down there, but we are currently transformed into a Blood Elf, which is funny, and now I think we magically know Thalassian. So let's go ahead and come into here, and the captured Sunhawk agent eyes you suspiciously. I've never seen you before. Who are you? I'm a prisoner. What does it look like? The Draenei filth captured me as I exited the Sun Gate. They killed our portal controllers and destroyed the gate. The Sun King will be most displeased with this turn of events. The captured Sunhawk agent smirks. Don't worry, New Blood. There are many more portal controllers and many more suitable locations for portals. I am certain that Stronus will have a new gate up very soon. These blue-skinned dogs are not long for this world. Stronus and the Abomination will clean up whatever the Sunhawk forces leave behind. Ah yes, Stronus. I had nearly forgotten that Stronus was here. I served under Stronus back on Outland. I hadn't heard of this abomination though. Those damnable Draenei captured me before I even fully materialized on this world. It was Stronus's idea. The abomination is actually one of their own. He's a high-ranking member of the Draenei military order, Triumvirate, or some such nonsense. Whatever that thing is, it's massive, powerful, and full of rage. Any attacks against the Vector Coil will most certainly result in failure as long as that abomination is around. Incredible. How did Stronus accomplish such a thing? Stronus claims that certain Eredar possess the ability to transform others of their race into Minari, savage, demonic beings. Draenei were supposedly once Eredar, and Stronus is a powerful Eredar. Can you believe it? These pathetic creatures were once all-powerful demons. What kind of fool rejects such power? Stronus is an Eredar. I mean, yes, obviously. Obviously, how else could she infiltrate their ranks and pass as a Draenei? She had been living among them for a very long time. The Vector Coil is massive. I hope we have more than one abomination guarding the numerous weak points. Numerous. It has 2 weak points. The base of the structure on the west side and the base of the structure on the east side. Hey, wait a minute. How would you know anything about the vector coil? Didn't you say that you were captured before you even materialized? I did, and you believed me. Thank you for the information, Blood Elf. You have helped us more than you could know. Treacherous whelp. Sorrowness will destroy you and your people. So it looks like we got a lot of good information there. Or let's go ahead and just leap back this way and turn in this quest. So here's the Exarch, and we can go ahead and try to eradicate the Blood Elf menace. So let's go ahead and speak with the Vindicator at the Vindicator's Rest all the way over here. But we still have yet a few more quests to pick up before we can go ahead and start our adventures. We're here as Boros. What Argus means to me? You're the one that made the castle run in under 15 minutes. Probably not. Are you ready to spill some blood in the name of the light? For villain? For Argus? I'll slow it down. So now we can go ahead and kill 10 Sunhawk spies. But we have a few more quests that we can pick up. So we can get the bear necessities to get some bear flanks. And we have Matt Palm where we can collect some alchemical reagents. And we have the Hippogriff Master over here that I guess I can just take a look at the fight map where we see the 2 over here in Bloodmyst Isle, and then we have the 1 here in Bloodmyst Isle. But we have one more quest right here, a Dwarf of the Explorers League. Explorers League, is that something for gnomes? Where we can go ahead and find a gnome. Now, if we look at our map, there are quite a few quests that we can complete. And we're going to go ahead and start chipping away at this, and we'll see how much progress we make over here. Where there's also this quest over here, the Blood Curse Legacy, which I think we will pick up some other time. Let's go ahead and leave that there for now, and let's go ahead and start finding some of the different things that we need to find. Where we have some of the grizzled brown bears, and I think we can fight them, and then we can fight the thistle lashers, but they're not showing up on the tooltip there. But let's go ahead and kill some of them, and then yes, we got some irradiated crystal shards, I guess, from any creature here, some blood mushrooms. And as we kill a bunch of stuff and collect a bunch of different things, I want to go ahead and talk about something for the next little while of this episode. And this is something that goes all the way back to my Human Mage playthrough, because in my Human Mage playthrough I had talked about something that I was wanting to do, and I talked about it a couple of times in that playthrough, and I haven't really talked about it since then. But it is a personal project related to World of Warcraft that I've been working on, and it's basically to play every single class in the game. So as you can see on your screen right now, I have this spreadsheet that I had basically created, and I was tracking all of the different specializations for the different classes as I played through them in the different versions of World of Warcraft, in Vanilla Era, in the Burning Crusade, in Wrath Lich King, and Cataclysm, and in modern retail World of Warcraft, where I have now basically completed a playthrough of every single class in the game to the point of me wanting to play through them. Now, a very important part about this is that this is basically just my more recent playthroughs of each of the classes, where I specifically sat down and played through each of them to kind of get a basic understanding of how they play and basically how much I enjoy playing them. And as I did this, I played multiple different characters and basically in different eras of the game to kind of get a broad overview, where in the list it's basically just how far I progressed on each specific one. So I played multiple Death Knight characters, but I only marked the Frost Death Knight that I reached level 85 on, and not any of the other Death Knights that I reached level 80 on and whatnot. This also does not include the countless other characters that I have played throughout my life, where I have spent a lot of time playing World of Warcraft. Some would say maybe too much time, and ever since I was 8 years old, I started playing a warrior character, and I played, many Death Knight characters in my life, and I played many different characters of many different classes, especially Druid characters and Warlock characters and whatnot. So I have a lot of experience with every single specialization in the game. And now I basically kind of just want to go through a quick run through of each specialization and basically talk about what I like about them and what I don't like about them. where you can find a link to an Imgur image of the WoW playthroughs down in the description if you want to open it up to kind of look at it more in depth instead of going back in the video and pausing. And in the description you can also find my basic rankings of all of them, where I'll rank them from my favorite to my least favorite ish down in the description. But let's go ahead and just run through the list, starting with Druid, where I played a balanced Druid in the vanilla era version of the game, and I had actually a decent amount of fun playing that Druid character, where I also played a balanced Druid, a lot of a balanced Druid, during the original Cataclysm and original Mist of Pandaria, way back when. So I have a decent amount of experience with a balanced Druid, and it's actually something that I enjoy a decent amount. But it's not my favorite version of the Druid, and it's definitely not my favorite spellcaster in the game. It's kind of just middle of the pack. We're looking at the other Druid specializations. We have Pharaoh, which is my favorite Druid specialization in the game, and one of my favorite class / specializations in the entire game. Where we see Guardian Druid and Pharaoh Druid separated in Mist of Pandaria. So those are technically two different things, but before Mist of Pandaria they are the same exact class / specialization. Where tanking is decently fun, but I spend most of my time playing as a cat, and it was definitely a lot of fun, where I really enjoy playing a Pharaoh Druid, and as I said, it's one of my favorite class specializations in World of Warcraft. Where Restoration Druid, I also played a ton of Restoration Druid in Mist of Pandaria, especially in PvP, and I actually enjoyed a decent amount, but it's definitely not my favorite thing. Where a common trend you'll see is I'm not a big fan of different tanks and healing classes, because while I used to do a lot of group content and a lot of PvP content back in the day, I don't really do that anymore. Where I just have a lot of fun in the open world and playing through the open world, so classes and specializations that are better in the open world are going to be ones that I enjoy a fair bit more than classes that you can't really play in the open world. We're switching over to Hunter. I have Beastmaster, which I specifically played in my Torn Hardcore Let's Play series, and I had a ton of fun playing that. Where I also have Survival that I played on my live stream Hardcore Survival series, and I had a decent amount of fun playing that as well. Where when it comes to both Beastmaster and Survival, they're kind of just okay specs for me. I have a decent amount of fun with them, and Hunter's decently fun, but my favorite spec has to be Marksman. And I don't know why, I feel I'm someone who would enjoy Beastmaster more than I would enjoy Marksman, but for whatever reason I just really enjoy Marksman Hunter. It's kind of just that classic, send your pet in, but you're really relying on your shots and some damage abilities from range. Where in the modern version of World of Warcraft we see Survival changed drastically to become a melee specialization for hunters, and that's also decently fun, but I played mostly Marksman when I played a recent Hunter in the retail WoW version of the game, where I was playing through Shadowlands on that character. Going down to Mage. Mage might be my favorite class in the game, if I'm being honest, and I'll decide in a little bit down in the rankings when I write those. But I just have a ton of fun with Mage characters. My least favorite spec is probably Arcane, which it's not really good at all in vanilla World of Warcraft, but I still have a decent amount of fun with it. But it's definitely much better in the modern version of World of Warcraft. But Fire and Frost is a ton of fun, where I especially love Frost specialization, and my human mage playthrough was as a Frost mage, and I had a ton of fun playing that character and basically exploring Azeroth and making a Let's Play series as a Frost mage. It was just a really good experience, and I think if you were to ever see a relaunch of the World of Warcraft Classic Trilogy, where they have fresh vanilla that leads into the Burning Crusade that leads into Wrath of King, I think if I were to trick myself into playing that again, I would be playing a Frost Mage through that entire experience instead of Warlock and then a Death Knight when Wrath of the King came around. But Paladin is another one of my favorite classes in the game, and where Holy Paladin and Protection Paladin are one of my favorite tanks and healers in the game, but I just don't play them too much because I don't particularly enjoy them too much, but they're still pretty fun. But Retribution Paladin might be my second favorite specialization in the game, right after Frost Mage, and it's just such a fun spec to play. Even in vanilla, where it's not really fleshed out, it's still a ton of fun. But in Season of Discovery, it's really cool. And starting in like Wrath Lich King especially, it becomes really, really cool. And I played it to like level 50 in retail WoW, and it's really, really fun. And it's just one of my favorite specs in the game. Probably my second favorite spec maybe. Or maybe my third favorite spec, where it's just a ton of fun for me. Next is Priest. Now Priest is kind of going down to the level of one of my least favorite classes in the game, and I don't think it's necessarily my least favorite, it's just like down there for me, where it's just a class that I didn't enjoy too much, where I played a disciplined priest playthrough where I primarily played that character in a player versus player, so I just ran a ton of battlegrounds and I leveled up that way. And that's like something that I had always wanted to do, is just level a character primarily through battlegrounds. So I did that in Wrath Lich King Classic as a disc priest, where I did a ton of damage and I did a ton of healing, and I had a ton of fun playing that class. But again, I'm not someone who really enjoys like PvP and like group content anymore, so it's just not something that I probably ever do again. Where Holy Priest is kind of like whatever. It's less fun than Disc Priest for me, but you know, it's still like a pretty decent spec. And then Shadow Priest would be like the big one for me, but I don't necessarily enjoy it that much. Where I'll probably play it again in the future at some point just to like experience it again, maybe do like a future like vanilla season as a Shadow Priest, but it's just not one of my favorite things in the game. But speaking of classes that I don't enjoy too much, Rogue. And I think Rogue might be my least favorite class in World of Warcraft, where the biggest mechanic related to Rogue is stealth, and I'm not a big fan of stealth mechanics in games that aren't specifically designed around stealth. Now when it comes to like stealth games, I love them, and when it comes to like the occasional like stealth mini game like we see in like Legion, which is really cool, and we see in like Guild Wars 2 in like different areas, I think those are really cool. But when it comes to like the concept of stealth like mechanically and like combat, like stealth in Guild Wars 2, the mechanic where you can go invisible for a little bit, and the stealth mechanic in World of Warcraft where you can go invisible for I guess a very long time, I just don't enjoy that mechanic that much, and it's just not a lot of fun for me. Where when it comes to the three different specializations, where we have assassination, and then we have subtlety, and then we have combat, which becomes outlaw, and I'm not entirely sure why that was changed, but it becomes outlaw in a future World of Warcraft expansion, and that's what the current spec is in modern retail World of Warcraft instead of the classic combat spec, where combat is my favorite of the three, and I played that all the way to level 85, and I reached level 85 in a recent stream. But it's just a class that's like kind of fun to me, and combat is like when I have the most fun playing Rogue. But largely I don't enjoy Rogue at all, and I might play it again at some point in the future, but largely just not super interested anymore. Continuing the trend of classes that I don't like a lot, we have Shaman, where Shaman is just not a class that I enjoy too much. Where I did my Orc Shaman Let's Play series, and I talked about this a bit, where Enhancement Shaman is decently fun, but it's just not my favorite thing in the game, which is kind of interesting because I really like melee classes that have like a lot of like spell mechanics, which we see with like Retribution Paladin, and as we see with the Death Knight, which I'll talk about in a bit. We see that here with the Enhancement Shaman, but it's just not something that I enjoy too much, and I just don't have a lot of fun with it. Where we also have Restoration Shaman, which is kind of just like nothing for me. It's like decently fun, but I talked about like tanks and healers and whatnot, it's just not like too much fun for me. Where we also have Elemental Shaman that I played to level 80 in Wrath Lich King Classic, and I actually had a decent amount of fun running around the world and doing that. Where I don't like Elemental Shaman in the classic version of World of Warcraft, there's so many Blood Elves. But in like starting like Wrath Lich King, it's definitely a decent amount of fun for me. But overall, at the end of the day, what is going on? There's so many Blood Elves. But at the end of the day, it's just not something that I enjoy too much. Or this is kind of dangerous. Let's go ahead. Kill them. We can heal up, which is nice. Continuing the trend once more, we have a Warlock, which I really like the concept of Warlock, and that's like the primary reason why I played a Warlock character as my first character in the classic re-release of World of Warcraft back in 2019, where I was super excited to play that character. but ultimately I didn't have a ton of fun with it, where there's Demonology, Destruction, and Affliction, where I just did not enjoy any of them really. I think Demonology starting the Burning Crusade is decently fun when you get to the upgraded, I forget the name of the minion, the Felguard, is that the name? Where I think that's a lot of fun. And I will be doing a Let's Play series in the future where I play as a Warlock, a little bit of a hint. But at the end of the day, it's just not a class that I enjoy too much. It's not a class that I necessarily hate starting in like Wrath of the Lich King or maybe the Burning Crusade. But in vanilla, I just definitely do not enjoy it a lot, where I just don't have fun with like the gameplay loop. And ultimately, you know, it's just not really something for me, where there's a lot of blood elves everywhere around here. This is a very interesting area. Let's try to kill them. Let's try to heal up. Okay, that was definitely dangerous. Oh, there's a rare here. I think that's a rare. So let's go ahead and kill her. Let's go ahead and heal up. Let's pummel. And I think we're going to be okay. There we go. We got Silver Moon Armor of the Aurora, which is blue quality. It's a rare. And I'm not sure about stats, but let's go ahead and equip it. Oh wait, what is this? Oh, it's a plate armor. So I guess maybe it's not better, but let's equip it to unlock this, where it looks like some classic Blood Elf armor that you can unlock if you play as a Blood Elf. But I think I prefer, I think I prefer this. So let's go ahead and re-equip our tabard. But continuing on, we have a warrior, which of course I'm playing a warrior right now, and I mentioned earlier that I am having a ton of fun with this character, where we have a little bit of a lag spike, which is a bit less fun. There we go. Okay. But warrior is always going to hold a special place in my heart, because it was the first class that I played in World of Warcraft, Night Elf Warrior, and I just have a lot of nostalgia with the class. Where in the vanilla version of the game, warrior is actually like decently fun, but going forward and like probably starting in Wrath of the Lich King and now in retail World of Warcraft, now that I'm experiencing modern warrior, it is a lot of fun for me. It's probably one of my favorite classes in modern World of Warcraft, if not my favorite or second favorite class. And out of the specializations, Protection Warrior is not really something that I enjoy too much. It's like a fun fantasy, but you know, I've talked about healing and tanking. And then when it comes to Arms and Fury, they're kind of in the middle for me. I like both of them. Fury is really, really fun, and Arms is really, really fun. And I think at the end of the day, I don't have too much of a preference, and it kind of just depends on what I'm playing in the moment. So ultimately, Warrior is just a very well-rounded class for me, and I have a ton of fun playing it. But lastly, we have the Death Knight. Now, if you asked me this question like 10 years ago for what my favorite class in the game would be, it would be Death Knight. And I think still nowadays, it's definitely in my top 3 of my favorite classes, or top 4, where it's just so much fun. But I think nowadays, now that I've played a ton of different classes, Death Knight is still one of my favorite, but I think others have like risen to like the same level as Death Knight for me. We're starting in Wrath of the Lich King. I created my Death Knight character named Athos, my first ever Athos. That's where the name was born, back in like late 2008, where I had a ton of fun playing a Death Knight in the original Wrath of the Lich King, and I had a ton of fun in Cataclysm and in Mist of Pandaria, and then coming back into Wrath of the Lich King Classic and into Cataclysm Classic, I had a ton of fun with it as well. But it's just like other stuff has kind of risen to the same level for me, where out of the 3 of the specializations, they changed a lot over the years. Where Frost was my favorite specialization back in the day, and I think it's definitely one of my favorite specs out of all the different class specs in the game still today. But I think Unholy, as I play through Unholy, is a decent amount more fun for me nowadays, where I mostly just played a lot of Unholy because it was very good in Wrath of the Lich King, and going into Cataclysm I kind of just stayed with that, where maybe I'll play some more Frost now that Cataclysm Classic is around, because I played a ton of Frost in Cata and in MoP. Where Blood, it's alright. I have a decent amount of fun, but Frost and Unholy is just a lot of fun for me. And similar to Warrior, Death Knight is always going to hold a special place in my heart just because it is a very memorable and nostalgic class for me, and it's just a ton of fun to play through. Where when we look at all of the specs and classes in the game, I'll go ahead and basically post like my final like rankings, or it's probably going to change, you know, over time as I have like different interests, but I'll post them down in the description if you want to read through that. But basically, kind of like to summarize everything I've talked about for the last little bit of this video: Druid, I have a lot of fun playing. Hunter, I have a decent amount of fun playing. Mage, I have a lot of fun playing. Paladin, I have a lot of fun playing. Priest, it's not really my favorite thing in the game. Then we have Rogue, which is probably my least favorite class in the game. Shaman, I don't have a lot of fun playing that class. Warlock, I don't really have too much fun, but I don't necessarily hate it. Warrior, one of my favorite classes and one of the most nostalgic classes in the game, and it is a ton of fun. And Death Knight, very similar to Warrior, one of my favorite, one of the most nostalgic classes in the game, and I have a ton of fun playing that class. Where we just leveled up to level 18, where I've leveled up twice since I started talking about that. Let's go ahead and get Frothing Berserker, and damage from your bleed effects have a 10% chance to grant you 5 rage, or Overpower has 2 charges and deals 15% more damage. Let's go ahead and get that. And then we need to come into here to get Felcone Fungus, and we have a couple of other quests over here that we can grab, and then we can go ahead and get this Monument Glyph. We're at Nazivian, which this is a satyr outpost. Here's the last mushroom that we need, where I'm almost out of inventory space. There's Tzurak, a demon, and there are some satyrs around here, which are basically also demons. They used to be night elves, and then they were corrupted by the Burning Legion when they gave in to the Burning Legion. I guess let's kill this demon really quickly. I think we are going to run back here in the future and do some more quests here, where I just got his armor plate, so I guess it's a good thing we killed him. So let's go ahead and pick up this quest, and then we can kill a bunch of satyrs around here. So I guess that's the quest that I was thinking of. So let's go ahead and kill a bunch of these satyrs. There's also a bunch of corrupted treants around here. I've gotten a ton of these irradiated crystal shards that we need for the quest, but I keep getting more, so I think they're a currency for something, but I don't really remember what specifically they are for. And really quickly, I want to run over towards this island, because I don't think there's anything important on this island, but it is... Oh, okay, we just had to go to Black Silt Shore, I suppose, to uncover it on the map where it was grayed out for us until we ran up there, and that was the Ice Maker. I only need to kill like one more satyr, but I saw this chest over here that we can go ahead and open, and I think we get some experience from opening the chest, but I don't need anything from it. Let's go ahead and just delete all of this so the chest will respawn for somebody else, but there's not too many people running through Bloodmyst Isle, where I've seen a couple of people, and I think they were mostly here for like Hallow's Eve or whatever, Hallow's End, but they might have also just been doing like quests to basically get their achievement for doing all the quests in this zone. Here's the last satyr that I need to kill, and then we have one more quest down here that we can go ahead and complete: catch and release. So let's run over there and do that very quickly before we run back to Bloodwatch, where we have a lot of quests that we can turn in. I took a lot of damage as I was running away, but we can see some Murloc huts on the coast here, where we can see Exodar off in the distance on Azurmich, where we have Cruelfin, who looks like he's going to give us a quest. So let's go ahead and kill him really quickly. And we need to tag the scouts, so let's tag that one. And we got a red crystal pendant. So let's go ahead, delete that, and let's pick up this quest where we can bring this back to Bloodwatch. So now we just have to get close enough to some of these Murlocs in order to tag them. And in the process, we might have to kill a few. There's a group of 3 right here, so let's go ahead and just sneak up here, tag this one, and now we need to find one more. So let's go ahead and run back inland a little bit so we can loop around here. I see a chest right there, but I might go ahead and leave that because chests are like really cool to get, but never really have anything too valuable in them. And as I say that, that one probably has something super valuable. But that's the last scout that we needed to tag. So now looking at our map, I cannot even count these, but we have like 10 quests or something that we can turn in Bloodwatch. So maybe I'll even just Hearthstone back up there. So let's go ahead and just return to Bloodwatch and turn in all these quests. And in the process of doing so, I think we will reach level 19. We'll see if that actually happens. But let's go ahead and just run around, and what we did partway into the episode when we got to Bloodwatch originally, where we just ran around this entire area and picked up a bunch of different quests, we can go ahead and do the same and turn it all in. Are we going to reach level 20 from turning all these in? That seems kind of insane. Let's go ahead and pick up all the quests that we can do as well, where the Legion have a presence in this land, and we are going to have a bunch more quests that we can complete.
May the light embrace you. Favor the road.
There we go. Protect the field grips. Can get crystallized bark now. Galeon's Fate. And we just progressed the achievement for Galeon's Fate. And we have, wait, where is this? If we come into Bloodmyst Isle, we can see here where I've already completed it on my warband, so I don't think we can really track it in a very nice way. But we unlocked a new battleground, Deep Hall Ravine. Is that from War Within or something? I'm not entirely sure. Let's go ahead, turn in this, and then we have Colleen, the Flutters, so a bunch more quests that we can do next episode. So Matpar, Mushroom Menagerie, let's go ahead and turn that in. Now we need to get Ysera's Tears from this island up here. We have Boros that we can go ahead and chat with for 2 quests, and Irradiated Crystal Shards, where we can go ahead and get buffs. So let's pick up this attack power buff, and our inventory is full, so let's go ahead and sell some stuff off. Now we can get this, and then we can turn in more Irradiated Crystal Shards just to get more crystals. So maybe let's go ahead and do this 2 more times so we can go ahead and use up a bunch of the crystals that we collected, and then we can go ahead, pick up that quest, and we have a few of these that we can use, where I think we can use them at any time, so it just like gives us some more attack power, which is nice. Let's turn into this quest, and then we can go ahead and find the Surveyor team down there, where now we have several quests that we can go ahead and head out to do, but I think I'm going to save that for next episode, where let's go ahead and equip all this stuff, and then I should maybe clear out my inventory once again. But looking at our map now, while we completed a ton of quests in this episode, we have a ton more to do next episode, so that's what we will be doing in a couple of weeks, so that will be fun. But as far as this episode goes, I'm going to go ahead and call it good here, where I hope you all enjoyed watching, and as always, I hope you all are taking good care of yourselves. Remember, as always, to drink some water, check your posture, and subscribe. And I'll see you next time in the world of Azeroth. Goodbye.